Hello, this is Rico Cavella, and this is your Fearless Aging podcast, where in every episode, my experts and guests and we strive to give you proven tips and strategies that you can implement immediately to greatly improve your overall health and well-being. So we're here to inspire you and empower you to become your best self so you can go out in the world and make a bigger positive difference. And we definitely need you to do that. So the title of today's episode is The Art of letting go of your past and embracing your future. And this is something I'm really passionate about. I've been teaching and living this myself, learning about letting go. So this is going to be a really exciting one. So before I introduce our expert guest, I want to let you know I have a question for you. If you are wondering how well you are aging, well, I have the solution for you. If you go to my main website, agelesslivinglifestyle.com, we have an aging assessment right there on the very top. So you can take the assessment, and if you're not happy with the results, I offer you a free coaching call where we'll just discuss what your challenges are, and I'll do my best to get you going on the right track. So go to agelesslivinglifestyle.com and take our aging assessment. So the art of letting go. And our expert guest is Julie Zaruba Fountain. She is a well-being specialist based in Duluth, Minnesota, and she specializes in health promotion and change management. She has an MBA in change and leadership and MS in health, nutrition, and exercise science, and over 10 years of experience. And she guides learners and leaders from a state of overwhelm, stress, and procrastination into action. That's so many people are in that state, aren't there, these days? And she strives to build a world where we can all thrive. And she delivers workshops, online classes, keynote presentations, and some consulting. And she has a online course called Career Crossroads, which we'll let you know about that in just a little bit. So, Julie, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Rico. It's great to be with you.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Well, again, I just really want to emphasize that, the art of letting go, letting go of your past and embracing your future. That's really the key to being successful and just about every aspect of your life. And like I say, I'm constantly learning myself and teaching that. And I just want to say first, before the art of letting go is something that's so important. So, so just tell me a little bit about, first of all, how did you uh, decide that this is the topic that you really want to get on with and see how you could help and learn about it and teach people about it?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to share. Back in 2021, I was in a job transition myself. I had spent about a decade in higher education, and it started out as my dream job. And as the years came on and more responsibilities came, and I started working more and more hours, I became burned out. And
Mhm.
the job that I thought was going to be the job for the rest of my life, my dream job, ended up turning into the job that caused a lot of stress and burnout for me. And so I had to make a transition. I had to make a choice. And in that, developed Empower Possible, my business. But then I also transitioned into healthcare as well during that time. And during that time of transition, I really struggled. I had been doing this work for a long time. I knew all the right things that I should be doing: exercising, eating nutritious food, getting enough sleep. But there still was something that was missing. I wasn't quite running on all cylinders. I wasn't quite feeling myself. And I realized after talking with my therapist, I was grieving. I had lost this identity that I held on to for about a decade, and I needed to learn how to let go of that. And I really struggled with that at first. And it took about a year of reflection and talking with others that had gone through similar experiences. I am a forever love of learner. And so as a student, I was reading everything that I could about this grieving process of identities. And that's when I came to think there's a lot of things that we need to let go of in our life. There's a lot of old stories that need to be looked at and reviewed, and
Mhm.
so that we can create and write our new story. And I just wanted to give this to the world because it's something that I felt was missing for me when I went through that really difficult transition in my life.
Yeah, that's so good. And I think so many people can identify with that. When I've been working with clients in the area of fitness and exercise and health and well-being for all these years, and and I realize, it's really the mental, emotional component that's really directing everybody's life. What you actually are doing and what you feel you're capable of doing, and what kind of beliefs and limiting beliefs you have, and it's all about letting go of all these things in the past. You know, I got a question for you and all my audience. What do you think the number one most difficult pose in yoga to master?
I would say corpse pose, just
Exactly.
laying there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Savasana, the corpse
Yeah.
pose, to totally just
Hmm.
relax and let go. That is the hardest thing to do, to let all that tension just out of our body. So that's something that
Hmm.
uh, we know very well, that that's the most difficult thing, is to just let go. But it's something that we all need to work on it, and we need to do it. And another thing I'll say before I got some more questions here for you is, uh, there was a famous, I can't remember who it was now. It's been so long ago, but there was a famous master and guru in India,
Hmm.
and that's all he taught. Exactly. Anytime his students would say, well, Master, I have this problem. What should I do about this? He'd just look at him and say, let go.
Yeah.
Just let go of it, because
Hmm.
if you haven't let go of it, you're living still in the past, and
Yeah.
you're living in whatever regret or or unhappiness, or else, if you're not living in the present, then you're living in the future and some kind of anxiety or something, right? So you
Right.
always want to, you got to let go of any fear of the future or any angst from the past, and that's the only way you can be living in the present moment and be successful. So that's such a
Hmm.
really important concept. Yeah. So I really I commend you for what you're doing. This is some work that's so much needed. So
Yeah.
talk a
Thank
little
you.
bit more about, so what were some of the concepts and ideas you came up with, to help people to realize that's really what their big problem is, and how they can learn to let go.
Right. Just like you were saying, in working with people and while I was developing my course, I really found that they kept on looking back and they kept on defining themselves by the person that they were or how they were treated. And
Hmm.
so that's why in the first step, it's really looking about what are the narratives that are in your life and what do you believe to be true about yourself. I mentioned in my introduction those old stories, but I'll revisit that again because it's really important. What are
Yeah.
those old stories that you tell yourself about yourself? What is the meaning that you're making of these stories? And what does that mean for your future? Is that something that you want to define you? Or how can you look at that story that was shaping you, is shaping you, and how can you make it a new story that serves you in a better way? How can you grow into what's possible for yourself and not be defined by your past and what was?
Yeah, no, absolutely right. An important concept is your past doesn't have to predict or dictate who you can be in the future. and
Mhm.
and so it really comes down to our belief system, right? Our beliefs and our thoughts and our words and our emotions really create the actions that we're going to take. So we'll talk a little bit more about beliefs, and I just want to say what I teach people about beliefs is, just think about this. Since we know now, I mean, most people hopefully have got this idea that what you believe and what you're thinking, that's creating your reality, right? And
Right.
so,
Yeah.
but think about this: you can believe anything that you want. So why should you believe something negative about yourself or limiting about what it's not serving you? What's the point of it? Why believe anything negative about yourself when you can believe all the very best for yourself? Doesn't that make sense? Just to believe the very best positive things you can possibly think of. And you
Right.
have the ability, you can choose to believe something really positive and good about yourself, or you can choose, like so many people do. It just, to me, it just makes so much sense. I don't know why more people cannot get that concept,
Mhm.
but that's an important concept to understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I also have a little bit of training in positive psychology, and it's the same thing. It's that optimistic mindset or the pessimistic mindset. Both are true, but what mindset would you rather live in? Would you rather live
Exactly.
in a mindset full of opportunity and full of um, or a mindset that's full of challenges and barriers that you can't overcome. So it is that active choice and it takes work to get there. And I do think some people are genetically predisposed to a certain mindset. And the reason why I do what I do, and probably the reason why you do what you do, is behaviors matter. So you can
Yeah.
shift that within a certain amount. So if you are someone that is listening to this and thinking, okay, they've got their rose-colored glasses on and they see the world as bright and shiny, sunny, like, but they don't know my life. It's true. I don't know your life. And we know that negativity exists. We don't need to focus on it. We know that positivity exists, but we so often dismiss it. So we need to start changing our brains to recognize those positive opportunities so that when there is that opportunity to overcome those challenges, we're not blinded by the negativity and we don't even see it and it passes us by.
Yeah, that's really well said. It's something I came up with. You know how we used to all hear so much about fake news? Well, what I tell people, the real fake news you have to worry about is just, as you said, just these stories that you're telling
Right.
yourself about what happened to me in
Mhm.
the past and what's possible in my life and how all these things are against me. That's the fake news you have to that because you're just
Mhm.
making that up, and again, you have to realize that I think this is another important concept that I don't know if enough people realize too, that everything in our life happens for a reason. And it's
Mhm.
there, and everything is a lesson. Everything is a lesson in our life. So, we have this thing that we like to judge everything as good or it's bad. And things aren't really necessarily good or bad. They're just experiences and they're all lessons,
Yeah.
right? So instead of
Mhm.
thinking, oh, this was so horrible, happened to me, it's all bad. No, if you look at it from another, change your perspective, well, it happened for a reason. There's something that you needed to learn from there. And that's how you grow and advance, by learning from your past experiences.
Mhm. Yeah, things are just are. Things do what they're supposed to do. So
Yeah.
when an object falls off the table, gravity is working. Like that is
Yeah.
life is what it is. When something cuts you, that's what its job. Its job is to cut. It's just doing what it's supposed to do. And we assign value to whatever it is that's happening. So
Right.
those are things to be aware of. Just that non-judgmental mindset can come in handy if you find yourself constantly judging situations really harshly.
Yeah. Oh, I actually forgot to mention earlier was that we're going to stay into the end here, not too much longer, and we'll let you know about your new career crossroads thing to help people, make changes and transitions in their business world. And also, I know you have a free workbook and some free stuff there, so we'll let everybody. We all know how you can get that information from Julie in just a little bit. I think the other thing I think it's really important to know, again, like you mentioned earlier, how would you rather feel? Would you rather think some
Mhm.
fun, positive things for yourself and feel better, or would you rather stay there, make yourself feel bad? I mean, it's just so, to me, once you really get it, it's just so clear to you. It's like,
Right.
so I think what I try and teach people is, whenever that's what awareness is, being aware
Yeah.
of what you're thinking and what you're
Yep.
saying and what you're
Yep.
feeling, and realize, why am I thinking this? Why am I feeling this? Not make me feel good.
Mhm.
So you can just delete it, just click delete and change what you're thinking of. So you want to focus on what you want in your life, not what you don't want, or what has not gone wrong, but what can go right for you. So you just got to shift. And when you catch yourself with any kind of a negative belief, you just shift it to what you really want to be in your life, and it makes you feel so much better. So that's a much better choice, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're saying it so well. Yes. And I think where a lot of people that I talk to is you forget that it is a choice. You think that all
Hmm.
these things are happening to you, and you think that you have no power in a situation. And a lot of it is due to conditioning and certain determinants in our lives that aren't in our control, but focus on what it is that you do have control over. And then just start in little ways leaning into your own power and in little ways making choices for yourself that make a difference. And then it will grow and you will realize, okay, I can take my power back. I can empower myself. I don't need anyone else to tell me that I'm good enough, that I can make this choice, that I can do this. I can stand on my own 2 feet and I can do it. And we are all connected. And when we, treat each other better, when we are kind to one another, you talked about making, this positive difference and in different ways. When we all do that, we will all do better and we'll all rise together. So it really takes one person to start a ripple effect, and we do need each other. We are part of a
Yeah.
community, and so
Yeah.
why don't we all rise up together in a positive way?
Yeah, that again, well said. I totally agree with that's also one of my passions is to teach people. It's just like one of the biggest limiting beliefs that we so many people have is when we talk about that we can create world peace, and they
Mhm.
say, "Well, yeah, it sounds good, but that's just the way it is. That's just human nature. We're always going to be fighting and killing each other." Well, if that's your belief, then you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. We have to change that. See, that's one of the reasons it stays the same. But if more and more people start to believe in, hey, that we can let go of this craziness of fighting and killing each other, and that we could live in peace, and what an amazing world it could be if we're living all in peace and cooperating and helping each other, then we can create that. But as long as you think that it can't happen, then you're part of the problem. So on the overall big picture, we need more people to realize that, that let's think in that way. Let's think about the best possible way that we can create not only our own personal life, but the life for all of humanity. It's just so simple. So simple concepts, isn't it?
It really is, and I think there's messaging out there that makes it more complicated because when
Oh
people
yeah.
don't believe that,
Yeah.
when people don't believe that, it's easy to control people, right? If you're feeling disparaged, if you're feeling disconnected, if you're feeling lonely, then I can control you. And so for the people that are in control, of course they want people to be disjointed and to have these limiting beliefs because they benefit from that. So it is really recognizing the manipulation that occurs through a lot of different sources and being aware of what's around you and what you're consuming and what you choose to believe.
Yeah, absolutely right. Oh, well, that's the major problem we have in the whole world. So many
Mhm.
people that are in control, for either from greed or just our power trips. From governments to dictators, governments, and religions, and all these ways. That's how they keep people. They keep them with fear. And so
Mhm.
that's why we got to replace fear with love, and that's what
Mhm.
that's what's ever going to change. How we're ever going to create peace and a much better way of humanity living together. So once again, what you're doing is really important. And so I know what you teach a lot. You apply this and to people who are trying to make transitions in their careers. So talk a little bit about your program called Career Crossroads.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for that. And the my mindset about why I focused on careers was one, that's because a lot of my personal background through
Hmm.
transitioning to careers I thought could serve a greater good. And two, my education and work with other people have just brought me to this point. So it's what Career Crossroads is there's 4 sessions, and each session has a period of reflection and journaling and awareness building about your own thoughts and behaviors. And then we had a group of folks that we went through this course with, and we recorded some of their discussion points. So you're able to witness a discussion around the things that you yourself are
Hmm.
journaling and reflecting on. So it's a self paced course, but you also have the benefit of hearing about other people's
Yeah.
experiences. Along the way. And then, of course, I interact with the people that are taking the course and can answer questions and provide feedback. And my co instructor, uh, Dr. Gary Bullhauer, he also is a poet. And so he wrote these beautiful poems. So each session ends with a beautiful poem that he reads. And every time I've heard them multiple times, but every single time that I hear them, I just get goosebumps because it's just combining, I believe in the art and science of this work. And so I have the science piece. Gary also brings the science and the art, and it just is a really lovely flow. So we look at topics like looking back to move forward is the first session, finding the center of me, a life review is the second session, grieving, healing, and letting go is the third session, and then live into the possible is the fourth session.
So what is the overall main goal of this course? Is to help people who are a little fearful of moving forward or transitioning and
Yeah.
they're still kind of fearful of letting go of what they had in the past, even though it wasn't serving them well?
Yeah. A lot of people are asking the question, what's next?
Okay.
They might be unhappy in their current role. They might be burned out like I was and asking the question, what's next? So if you find yourself asking the question, what's next? Or if you just want to help navigating that next step, or you find yourself thinking about past career and you think, "Am I grieving?" Well, I'm not sure, even if it was years ago. I had a woman, it was 10 years ago that she had transitioned jobs and was let go and took this course and realized I have been holding on to a lot, even though it was a decade ago. It was something that I still, through this course, learned to let go of. And so if you're wanting to tell that new story, if you're asking yourself, I would like more assistance in navigating those steps. This course would be for you.
Oh, yeah, sounds really good. And before we tell people, how they can find out about your course and how they can get your free information, I just want to talk just a little bit more about, I think it's important is, as you mentioned earlier, you said, like a lot of people will say, well, yeah, easy for you to say, but you don't know what happened to me.
Yeah.
See, that's so many people will say that. And when I
Hmm.
try and work with people who say that, I try to let them know, look, everybody has different things happen to them in trauma and all that, and not everybody is in that state of where you are right now, right? So you don't have to be there
Hmm.
either. And and really what it is, if you say that, well, yeah, but you know what happened to me, well, that's just another limiting belief because and in reality, in actuality, you could just change that right now. You could just stop letting that bother you, and you could just change your mindset and just get into taking action to what you really want to do. And you could just let go of that instantaneously. You actually could. So you have to let people know, why are you holding on to that? What how it's not serving you at all, right? And so you could just absolutely let go of it right now. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be complicated. Again, if you think it's going to take a long time, just like a course like yours I think it's all somebody really would need. You don't need
Hmm.
years of therapy and that's just another limiting belief that you need all this stuff and it's so terrible and it's so complicated. No, that's just more limiting beliefs, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for some folks, this course is definitely helpful. There are some where if you are in a certain circumstance, certain traumas, you might want professional guidance because those limiting beliefs are so deep-seated. However, I do think for a lot of people, a course like this is very accessible and you can do both. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not something that it's an either or. There's definitely room for a both and in a lot of situations. So I think a lot of experiences happen to different people and they affect them in different ways, and just give yourself, try online courses, try therapy if that works for you, but the thing is to keep trying and not to give in to the despair that you might be feeling.
Or maybe we could change it, not try. Remember, I don't like trying. Trying is like an
Okay,
excuse, right? Don't try to do it, just do it, just
just
like the
do it.
old,
I see.
just like
Yes.
you're saying, just do it. I always tell my clients, well, okay, I'll try. No, it's no trying allowed over here, because trying, it's kind of an excuse, isn't it? Well, I tried. No, come on, just do it. You can just do it. And again, okay, one more thing though. I don't know what, I mean, to me, I just think it's important to get that, at least get that message out to people that you don't have to make it complicated. You don't have to make it
Mhm.
that's going to be so difficult. you could shift your mindset right in this moment if you would allow yourself
Mhm.
to do so. So at least I want
Mhm.
people to know that that's possible. You could just
Mhm.
shift it like that if you wanted to, if you sincerely wanted to. All right, well, let's tell people about what you where they can contact you and how they get what your free workbook and things you have there, and about your course where they can find all that information.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a website, empowerpossible.com. And then also on that website, you'll have the opportunity to sign up for my free newsletter, which has weekly well being tips, tips about career and growth, tips about mindset. So if you've enjoyed this conversation, that newsletter would be a good fit for you. And then also, if you are in that situation of navigating transitions, I have the free workbook and then I also have the Career Crossroads course. So both of those things you'd find on my website. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at Empower Possible and LinkedIn at Julie Zerba Fountain. So connect with me on there as well.
Yeah, and we'll put those addresses where they can connect with you on the show description. Well, Julie, again, I want to congratulate you for what you're doing. It's some really valuable work, and I really enjoyed our conversation. And I think this is such a valuable thing that people need to know about. So I thank you very much. And so, what? Okay, here's the thing that I always like to end my podcast with. It comes from Albert Einstein, one of the most, not only a brilliant guy, but he was such a spiritual person as well.
Mm,
And his saying is, knowledge without action is useless. So what
mm.
few words do you have to get people to not stay in where they're at and take advantage of what we just talked about, and that to step up and take some action?
I'll just repeat the words that I shared earlier. It's just three words: lean into your power.
Yeah. And why not? Why would you not want to? Yeah,
Mhm.
you can either feel like you're a victim, or you can let go of that and lean into your power. I think being powerful is just being responsible and taking responsibility for everything in your life, and just like I say, lean into it and become powerful. That's so good.
Mm.
So I want to thank you all, everybody, for being here today. And if you enjoyed this episode, tell your friends about the Fearless Aging podcast, and you can subscribe to our channel also on at fearless at agelesslivinglifestyle.com/podcast. So Julie Fountain, thank you so much. That was great. I really enjoyed our. Thanks for all the great information.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure.